Adultery is officially defined as sexual acts between a married person and someone who is not that person's spouse. Acts of infidelity and cheating on one's spouse are inherently controversial. Many people have speculated about the potential underlying roots of adultery and what prompts individuals to cheat on their spouses. However, before the causes of infidelity can be examined, the act itself must first be probed. In Western culture, adultery is heavily frowned upon and even illegal in 21 out of 50 American states. Punishments range anywhere from fines to incarceration. However, despite the ethical breaches and potential legal consequences, the Statistic Brain affirms that a considerable amount of people have engaged in adulterous acts at one point or another. Adultery can occur at any time and within any relationship. Many people believe that unhappily married individuals are the only ones who cheat, however, this is not always true. Adultery is more likely to happen after 2 years of marriage. Opportunities to cheat, such as work-related trips, also seemingly increase the likelihood of infidelity. The emergence of technology has also enabled adultery in many regards and made it more challenging to uncover. 10% of adulterous relationships start online, and 40% of these online affairs transcend into real-life adultery. Apps like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram also make it easy for extramarital lovers to communicate with one another via direct and private messaging. Apps that allow individuals to conceal various calls and text messages also makes adultery considerably more manageable than it was in past times. Many people may be shocked to learn that not only has technology enabled adultery, but it has also blurred the lines regarding what does and doesn't constitute infidelity. For instance, some people view sexting or sending explicit pictures to someone who is not one's spouse as cheating, however, not everyone shares this outlook. Some people claim and believe that so long as no physical contact is made, no infidelity has been committed. Of course, there are also debates about whether people honestly believe this or simply make this claim to justify cheating on their spouses. Here are some potential and probable causes of adultery. 1. Marital unhappiness. Many men and women engage in adulterous relationships simply because they are unhappy in their current marriages. The cheating husband or wife may feel as though their spouse does not listen to them, fails to show care, attention, or simply doesn't love them anymore. The majority of people would argue that the reasons above do not justify infidelity. However, marital unhappiness is one of the most common reasons behind the commission of adultery. Many other causes of adultery stem from a lack of happiness in the unfaithful husband or wife's marriage. 2. Boredom, need for something new. Sometimes, adultery is triggered by sheer boredom. Without specific steps or changes, certain marriages can begin to feel like routines or schedules. In various cases, the bored husband or wife becomes dissatisfied with their predictable, familiar marriage and begins to seek a thrill elsewhere. However, an unhappy spouse does not always seek out a lover. Sometimes, the husband or wife meets a new person. The potential chemistry or initial attraction may excite the unsatisfied spouse who then decides to engage in adulterous acts with this other person. Whether or not the extramarital relationship lasts after the original passion and exhilaration last on many factors. 3. Revenge. Cheating husbands and wives periodically engage in adultery simply to get back at their spouse. Their urges to get revenge can be motivated by perceived wrongs or transgressions committed by their partner. A husband or wife who knows that their spouse had an affair with a coworker may then respond by entering an extramarital relationship of their own. Sometimes, the unfaithful married person views cheating in response to prior cheating as evening the score or otherwise getting back at their spouse who hurt them. Rarely does cheating for the sake of revenge engender positive outcomes or even the score, as one may initially be trying to do. As the age-old saying goes, 2 wrongs don't make a right. 4. Sheer narcissism. Narcissism is another cause of infidelity or adultery. A happy, fulfilling, and even exciting marriage is not enough for a narcissist. He or she feels compelled to be loved, wanted, and desired by more than just their husband or wife. Therefore, the narcissistic spouse may either seek out extramarital lovers or simply cheat on their partner when the opportunity presents itself. Narcissists are infamously regarded as cheaters and unfaithful individuals. These people tend to feel as though societal norms such as monogamy and parenthood are beneath them. Narcissists view themselves as superior to others and believe that rules are for other people. The give and take dynamic which inherently occurs in marriage is often too much for narcissistic and can prompt them to feel as though they are losing control over their marriage. This perceived loss can prompt the male or female narcissist to cheat on their spouse. In their twisted mind, they are regaining control and power in their marriage. 5. Lack of sexual satisfaction. Adultery is sometimes motivated by a lack of sexual satisfaction in the cheating person's current marriage. This person may genuinely love their spouse, yet cheat on them because they believe their extramarital lover can satisfy them in a way that their husband or wife cannot. Many people have countered the other potential cause of adultery, stating that a man or woman who truly loves their spouse could never cheat on them. However, the validity of this claim remains highly debatable. Nonetheless, sexually unsatisfied husbands and wives have, in fact, cheated on their spouses. Each person is aware of whether they love their spouse. 6. Falling out of love. Falling in love with someone else. Although falling for an extramarital lover is seemingly rare, it can and does occur. Sometimes the cheating spouse meets someone else outside of their marriage and feels as though she and the other individual have a connection. Sometimes the unfaithful husband or wife views emotional or sexual intimacy as love, especially if these feelings have been lacking in the marriage. Ultimately, the only person who knows whether he or she loves someone else is themselves. In some cases, husbands or wives have left their current marriages to pursue healthier relationships with their paramours. Sometimes these relationships work out and other times they do not. Nonetheless, falling in love with another person or simply falling out of love with one's spouse can incentivize the commission of adultery. 7. Exposure to other cheaters. The children of parents who had affairs are more likely to also cheat on their future spouses. Of course, this is not to say that every child with parents who have engaged in affairs will become cheaters. However, one's environment does significantly impact their values, beliefs, and choices later in life. The decision to participate in adultery is ultimately up to every person. However, exposure to adulterers can make one more prone to committing the act themselves. So while the potential and probable causes of adultery are plentiful, this does not make the act any less harmful or hurtful. Many marriages have greatly suffered or even ended due to one or both spouses' lack of fidelity. Despite the overall disapproval of unfaithfulness in marriage, many people seemingly engage in adultery for their reasons. As a result of this, some people have suggested that expectations of monogamy are unrealistic. However, others have strongly countered this assertion. Every one of us will encounter hardships or difficulties in our relationships and marriages. However, what ultimately makes the difference is how we choose to handle them. There are many productive alternatives to adultery, including talking with your spouse, going to couples counseling, or sitting down with a professional for a one-on-one session. Life is full of challenges and difficulties. Sometimes, the best course of action is to pause, reflect, and think carefully about the next step to take. Making decisions in the heat of the moment is rarely a good idea and often breeds regrets. Thank you.